Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
She's an amazing designer. She can transform your living space, your workspace with innovative ideas. The fact that I love what she does is that she's always looking for the latest. And even when it's inspiration, what does she do? She goes to another country. She just got back from Italy, like literally just got back. And we're going to talk with her right now. KN is here from KN Creations. Welcome back. How you doing?
Thanks. I'm good. I'm still jet lagged, but it's fine. Way worth it.
Trip to Italy? Yeah, I'd say I'd put up with that. Wow. I've never been. It's on my bucket list. I'm not Italian. I should be. I eat enough of the food and love the culture. Um, you've been there before, am I right?
I've been there one other time for the same reason. So I go out there for the Salone show, which is the design. It's for Design Week in Milan. And it's for all interior design. And what's actually cool is this time, what they did was they partnered up with a lot of high-end fashion brands. And they did a lot of cool, like integrated installations to really like jumpstart inspiration between fashion world and interior design world and architecture.
Wow. And I would guess function too. It's got a functional purpose in your life if you're going to buy it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was it's a lot of immersive experiences. So, a lot of creatives, any kind of person in a creative field, as you know, you kind of hit a lull at some point in your career. You could be slammed busy with work, but at the same time, you're just kind of like, how do I find my creative spark again? How can I kind of come in with fresh eyes and a fresh mind and see different ways that new innovations are being designed from all over the world? Because it's not just Italian vendors that go to Milan, they're from all over. And it's different every place, like every vendor that's from somewhere, they all have different ways of doing things.
What surprised you the most out of all of this? Get granular. You're there, you're at a show. It's like, oh my God, look at that thing. Look what that does. Look at that they designed it. Was anything stand out for you?
Yes. So there's a brand, and I saw them last time, but I kind of forgot about them because I was very overwhelmed. On my first day, I was just kind of walking around Milan, getting a feel for everything, and I stumbled into the showroom where it's a plumbing line. And this plumbing line is really cool and unique. They basically, the owner is 90 years old. He's a really sweet older man, and his eye for design is so unique that he wanted to basically make all of his plumbing almost like a jewelry piece for your home. So, but at the same time of it being like super unique looking, it's super functional. Like I sent you a video of this faucet they just came out with that
Crazy.
has a coffee maker integrated into the faucet.
It's crazy. I looked at that video like 5 times. Like, is that really what's going? And what you sent me, you have an iPhone, I have a Droid, so it compresses it. So it was a little image.
Oh,
Otherwise, I would play it here. Um, just what a great idea, though, overall.
I don't even drink coffee, and I was very close to starting just from seeing this thing.
Right?
They did like a full tutorial because I said to them, all my clients, like, this would be such a hit for the right client where you don't need a coffee pot or a coffee maker anywhere on your counter. You can totally have like clean counter space. And what's the first thing you do when you make coffee in the morning? You have to go to the faucet to fill up the water, to fill up either your Keurig or whatever coffee machine you have. But this time it's just taking like almost like a Keurig pod, it looked like, and you put it inside. So you have your normal faucet, totally standard. And then there's like a tiny little round piece that is adhered to the side with a spout, like a small little spout. And you put your coffee of choice pod in there. and it takes like 3 seconds, and then you hit a button and all of a sudden it just disperses out of the little mini side faucet your coffee. And it's just insane. And there's only one small piece that sits underneath your sink to make it function. So you're not losing your whole cabinet either beneath the sink for like a piece of machinery.
Wow. See, I didn't see that detail where it's a sort of a pod type thing that you put in there to make your coffee. Just what a great idea, though. Like, I'll bet you in 5 years that becomes more mainstream overall. So you don't have to have, your K cup, your Keurig machine on the counter.
100%. And I actually asked them that. I'm like, because I've never seen this anywhere. I mean, I've seen the highest of highs of brands and the lowest of lows of brands. This is a high-end brand, granted, like they're luxury, but they're also reasonably priced too. So you just have to be willing to step outside of like Kohler and, Rebel and all those other brands that you're so used to seeing and that you're comfortable with because you're familiar with them.
Right.
And just kind of exploring something new. And that's what all of this is. Like this whole design show is literally pulling you out of your comfort zone and introducing you into a whole new lens of creative innovation and design and fixtures and finishes.
What are some of the other things you saw that kind of wowed you?
Furniture, I'm really big on furniture design. I've been designing furniture since I was a little girl. Like if I couldn't find it at the store, I'd just basically go sketch it out. And then either I'd build it or I'd help somebody build it and just make it come to life. So like I appreciate these unique little details, but there were some showrooms went into that they don't even allow you to take photos. And it was super unique. Like, for example, if you're in a room that doesn't have a lot of windows and you can't have that natural light kind of infiltrating in, and you want to create the aesthetic of that brightness, what's the best way to do that? Through mirrors. This one company, and I won't say the name because I wasn't supposed to take photos and I did anyway. But they have these really gorgeous mirrors that they've created that have tassels built in to the frame to look like a curtain, like a really beautiful drape, like nothing, like it's not cheesy. It's not like a beaded curtain from,
right,
the 60s. And it basically looks like a window. So there are these long, beautiful windows that bounce light naturally through the use of your overhead lights, lamps, and mirrors. And what they did with all of their pieces was just super cool, very different. And my jaw like hit the floor.
Wow. Does it feel like daylight in the examples that they gave?
Yeah, actually it does.
Do you
Wait,
find...
can you hear me? Because
yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Your volume is not...
I see ya. I hear you.
Okay. I hear you lightly. I don't know why, but that's fine.
Odd. Unless you're Bluetoothing to something else, maybe something else is picking you up.
Let me put in my thing. Hold on one second.
How about now?
Now I can hear you.
Well, it's interesting. You sounded great all along. Okay. Do you find we have to have a company come up with for KN just the perfect earpiece that you can hear everything so it's perfectly clear?
Yeah.
Do you find going to shows like this, whether they're in another country, whether they're, in the New York area where you're from, doesn't matter. Do you find it gives you a jolt of inspiration?
Yeah. That's why I go, honestly. I mean, I get into a creative lull more often than I want to be when it comes to certain projects, because I know I have to pull my personal taste out of my client's perception and what they want. So I have to find ways to constantly educate my clients, pull them out of their comfort zone, let them know what's up and coming on the trends, but also keeping timeless at the same time, because you don't want to do anything too trendy, especially in like a permanent application. If it's furnishings and it's not totally custom, fine, go with the trend. But you want to see what's out there. And one thing I will say, and you're going to see this probably everywhere now that I've mentioned it, there's a fluting. So there's like actually a wood panel behind me on the wall.
Uh-huh.
A lot of that is incorporated in design right now on furniture pieces. There's also like a fluted detail of that you're finding on all furniture pieces, but now they've gone as far as putting that on kitchen cabinetry and like custom cabinetry and really creating rounded edges instead of like your typical rectangular cabinet. They've rounded the edges, they've softened it, they've made it a little bit more, I would say a little more feminine, but not screaming like femme, you know?
Yeah. This almost sounds like a retro kind of feel to it, because I want to say that maybe it was in the 90s, maybe mid or early 90s, something that was kind of big with. So when you talk about the fluting, it's almost like different divisions of the, call it the molding or the finishing edge, the bullnose, whatever it's going to be on each side, and then that's on there, because that's what it looks like, looking your background.
The trends are really coming full circle. They really are. And I said this, I had a lot of conversations with the vendors out there, and I said, that pendulum, it swings and it goes back and forth, and something that's out of date way back when is now coming back, but with fresh eyes. And that's what's really cool about the creatives and the art behind these new furniture lines and the furniture pieces, and even tile and like wall inlays. It's so unique what these companies are pumping out.
I think one of my favorite things now in design is tile. I'm fixated on looking at different types of tile, inlays, how it's all done, even wallpaper. I never thought I'd ever say this, but wallpaper is cool again. It's not
Oh
your
my
grandma,
God.
it's not your grandmother's wallpaper.
They actually have, I met with a new vendor. They have outdoor wallpaper now.
Wow.
Which is cool, because it's cool if like you have a pool house or an outdoor space and you want to do an outdoor shower, because it's waterproof. It's weatherproof, and
Wow.
it looks like a mural. Like they have different ones. They have ones that look like a mural. They have ones that look, more like a texture. And you touch it and you feel it, and it's durable. Like it would take a lot to destroy this thing.
Huh.
And they're just so cool. And you can customize it. You can literally email them an image. Like, let's say I wanted that piece of art I have behind me as a mural for if I'm creating like a yoga Zen space outside. I can literally take that photo of that painting, send it to them, and they will create a whole weatherproof outdoor mural for me that just gets installed like regular wallpaper and essentially lasts for like a good chunk of time. I don't know exactly how long, but.
Wow. I'm also hearing that durable fabrics are being used for furniture, like outdoor quality fabrics are being used indoors to make them more durable. Like, for example, I have cats, and somebody told me, yeah, well, it's woven tightly so the cat's claws can't really do any damage. I have a couch that is not even, maybe it's a year and a half, if that. It looks like a scratching post right now. And I spray, I'm not even kidding. Every day I'm like, I've given up. It's like, you guys win. Here, enjoy that. But that's my main couch. And I should have thought of that when I bought well, actually, when I got the couch, I didn't have these cats. And I love my cats. They're great. However, I make my own repellent using essential oils, everything's safe, but I amp it up. Like the recipe calls for, eucalyptus, 3 drops or whatever. I'm like 5, like it still doesn't deter them. But somebody told me picking the right fabric, they wouldn't be able to get their claws into. Have you heard like outdoor fabrics being used indoors?
Absolutely, all the time. Even like outdoor rugs, I use indoor more than I use outdoor, to be quite honest. And cats and pets, that's the reason why, because of the durability. And to be honest, like when you're buying furniture, whoever's selling that furniture to you, they should ask these questions and say, do you
Yeah.
have pets? Do you have kids? Are there any little monsters that are going to potentially destroy your furniture? Because then they could say, listen, this is a better solution that's going to last you longer, depending on where you get it from. But now that you know 100%, you should be using, for that reason, exactly, outdoor fabrics indoor.
Fortunately, final point on this, it wasn't a super expensive couch, so I'm not looking at it saying, "Oh, look what's going on there." It's
Shouldn't have done it.
yeah, I'm okay at this point. It's just embarrassing. Like summertime, I entertain more, so like people coming over, and it's like I got to explain what's going on here. Yeah, that's not the way it normally looks, but whatever. Um, what else inspired you from the show, or even Italy in general? Anything stand out for you?
There's something I want to tell you, which I am mind blown. So at these shows, every vendor, they either host like an exhibition, something immersive, or like a cocktail party. So there was one specific day where we were just go, go, go. It was me and one of my colleagues who I do a lot of work with. And we were out there and we were like, okay, we're going to go to this one exhibition and then we're going to hit all these other ones after. But this one exhibition was from a lighting vendor. And what they did, no one else I've ever heard in my life, in my 15 years of design, has ever done. And I applauded the owner of this company afterwards. They paired up with the Institute of the Blind, which is a big institution in Milan for visually impaired people.
Mm-hmm.
What they did was you enter the institute and you speak with somebody who's truly fully blind. They speak with you about their everyday experiences and all that. They take everything away from you, your cell phone, your purse, any like physical belongings, and they give you the blind walking stick and they teach you how to use it. And now at this point, I'm in heels ready to go to the next party kind of thing. And I didn't know what I was getting into. So they basically said, okay, we're going to literally strip you of your vision. So you have to utilize all of your other senses. You have to use your sense of smell, your sense of touch, hearing, everything else, everything but taste. Obviously, you're not like licking the walls.
Right.
So they take us in through a series of pitch black rooms. Every room is designed to be a different environment. The first one was like a nature room. So you hear water running and you hear serenity, and they're like, okay, bend down. There's a plant probably to your left. It's herbs. Like, what do you smell? So you have to describe it. Then you go over like a crickety bridge, which scared the crap out of me because I'm like, I'm going to fall off this bridge. I don't know if there's water under it. It's one of those things where if you close your eyes and you open them, you think, I'm going to see again. You close your eyes and you open them and you're literally just seeing black. There's nothing there, not even a hint of a shadow. Then they take us to a construction zone room. So you hear all the noise of construction, high anxiety. You're like, oh my God. And they're like, okay, well, this is what we hear when we cross the street and we have to use our senses. And, like whatever, all the sirens that tell you to cross the street and it's safe and you have to use the stick and you're bumping into the people that are there. We had like 6 people, strangers involved, like all on this tour. Now, what the lighting company did was they put a turntable in a room with all of the textures that they built their light fixtures with. Leathers, metals, fabrics. And they said, okay, turn the table to your right. What do you feel? They're like, Kristiann, what do you feel? What is this texture to your right? And I was like, I don't know, like basket weave. And I got most of them right, actually. So it was really cool that they wanted to show you how they design their fixtures using just your senses that aren't visual. So it was all like touch and sound. And it was the most beautiful, humbling experience I have ever had in my whole life. And when we walked out, they were like, you can ask us any question you want about being blind. And one of the questions that we asked was, when you're out and about, and, you know, when we were in there, because we have our sight and we were stripped of our sight, all we see is the color black. Do you see black? Like, is that what you see every day? And they said, you know, no, because we've never known what that was. We were born without any concept of color or anything. So it's just like, it's just a removal of what you think you're seeing and what is removed. And I honestly, it changed my life. It changed my whole outlook on life. And I just thought it was such a cool way to really open up somebody's mind and shift a perspective and to be grateful for everything you have.
Sure. It's interesting. I never thought of that question. That's a great question. Somebody who's been blind since birth, what do you see? How do they even describe it? Because they don't know what a color would be anyway.
Right.
How do they even know what black is? Like
They don't.
How would you even describe what you're seeing? I'm trying to come up with a way to describe. I wouldn't even know where you begin. Like, I'll even listen to recently, Stevie Wonder popped on a playlist. I'm checking out some of the songs, and some of his, if you go back to some of his, not just the hits, but there's a song called As, very beautiful. Ribbon in the Sky, very beautiful. Where did he come up with that? He wrote it. And I have to believe that people weren't explaining to him certain things, maybe just in his imagination. He's very vivid when he wrote things, that he came up with that. But he'd been blind since the beginning. I mean, it blows my mind how some people.
I think it heightens your creative mind, because you have to use your imagination of what you think something looks like,
right,
and what you think how something is. Even though you have zero proof, you can't see it. You can hear the description and use your mind that way, but it really heightens all of your other senses, which is so wild.
It really is. It really is. Like, describe to somebody what the sky looks like, what a cloud looks like. How do you even describe it's fluffy? How do you know what fluffy is? Because you've never seen it before. Kind of makes you think for a minute what that's like. And then you see all these super creative people that don't have their vision or never did, and what they can still do, how powerful the mind is, and the creativity. Wow. Yeah. I'm picturing you walking through those rooms. What that must be like.
It was not pretty, I'll tell you right now. There was a point where I literally thought, I'm like, I had such a panic attack that I was going to faint. I hadn't eaten all day. I was super high anxiety. I'm like, I'm going to faint here. Not one person is going to find my body, because I don't even know if they have a light switch in here.
Did you know what you were in for? Or was just one of those like an attraction somewhere? It's like, we'll walk through. It's going to be safe. No problem. Take a walking stick and you're in until you're in. And it's like,
no, like they kind of tell you, they're kind of like, okay, it's like an immersive experience of, I forget how they described it. They were like, oh yeah, you're gonna use your other senses in this. They didn't say anything about you being like fully blind in this experience. And I was watching people as they were coming out, and I'm watching their expressions before I had even gone in. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm like, I was like getting a stomach ache, and I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Yeah, I see. They didn't fully explain it, which probably is a good thing. You didn't know what to expect. Wow.
Yeah. And try doing it in high heels. I'm like, well, I don't know if I ever find a high fashion person who is visually impaired and they're in high heels, I'm going to shake their hand, because
seriously,
it is not the life for me. But it's humbling, it really is. Imagine one day you wake up and your vision is gone, but you've had that vision. You've experienced that. All of a sudden it's stripped from you. Completely. How do you go on? Because that's happened to people.
I don't know which is more challenging, that happening or being blind since birth, where you never knew otherwise. And now your other senses maybe make up for it or so much more heightened. Wow. You give us stuff to think about. You really do.
This experience, I'm telling you, like travel is not for the faint of heart when it comes to this kind of stuff, when it comes to the creative world, or maybe it's just like things that I stumble across when I travel. I don't know.
Wow. This is just a piece of your mindset when you design. How do we find you, KN? What's your website?
My website is kncreationsanddesign.ltd.com or on Instagram, KN Creations and Design. I'm on TikTok. I am everywhere to be seen.
Have you put up, I haven't checked, pictures of this trip on social?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I've been documenting it. I'm actually still going through, I have so much footage that I'm still strategically posting different sequences of what I think y'all would be interested in seeing. And you will see the coffee maker faucet on there too. Actually, I'm going to put that up today.
Definitely check that out. One thing, that immersive dark experience, we can't see it.
I know.
You're going to take a million pictures. We'd still never see it.
They took our phones. We couldn't do it if we tried.
And then there's that, right? Yeah, well, you know what? You would just turn on the light on your phone. So yeah, good thing in a way, good thing they did, because you never would have gotten out of it what you got out of it. Thank you for all your insight and sharing that trip. Appreciate you being here today. Put the coffee thing up. I got to see that.
I'm going to put it up. It's really cool. I mean, even their like shower systems are a whole to-do, like a whole experience. And you're going to be so amazed. Like you didn't know that plumbing could look so good.
But it's one of those things I always say, when it's an obvious idea, nobody's thought of it, it's the best idea ever. Why wouldn't somebody come up with a coffee maker and a kitchen faucet? That's what you're going there anyway. Why not just start there? And then less stuff on your cabinet. I mean, on your countertop space.
Well, Europe is way ahead of us design-wise. They
Always
really
has
are. They're ahead of us in everything, to be honest.
Always has been.
Everything possible.
Totally.
So maybe one day the US will catch up. But
yep. Cool. Well, I got to run. We're out of time. It was good having you here today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
see you next time.
Yep. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.